Hello. Welcome to today's live. Yes, I did put a title in. I just all of a sudden forgot if I did. So yes, today I am really excited to talk today about my favorite, what I think is the most powerful antidote to any ounce of jealousy, comparison, envy, the compare and despair syndrome that I don't think any of us are immune to. The only question is in what context it's going to show up, in what context it's going to surface. And that context is the very indicator that we want to show us the gap between the version of us who has that and the version of us who doesn't. So that is what we are diving into today. Let's see how succinct and how clear I can be around this. So I definitely am not immune to jealousy myself. I mean, it starts way back from as young as I can remember. And I hear about it all the time in the clients I work with, and it can take the form of, hearing about your colleague who just had a huge windfall or, landed her next flow of income or a business gig. It could be hearing about a girlfriend who is dating someone and her new boyfriend is just treating her like a queen, taking her, like traveling her around the world in 5-star luxury. It could be a girlfriend just married the love of her life, the man of her dreams, and she's claiming to feel a depth of peace and elation and happiness and bliss that she always longed for. Or maybe a cousin just quit her corporate job and is now traveling the world, totally experiencing so much freedom. Or it could be a sister-in-law who just got pregnant and you've been struggling with your own fertility and really wanting to have your own child and not being able to. So it can take multiple forms in varying degrees. And what I find helpful, the first step is to just remember what jealousy is in and of itself. We all know, it's obvious, jealousy comes from an undercurrent of scarcity and lack and not enoughness. When someone else wins, it's sort of the assumption that they have it better, that we're losing. When someone else gets what you believe, what you want, and that you don't in some way feel you can have that or get that for yourself. So they now have something you believe you can't have. And on some level, there's a belief that there isn't enough to go around. So they're winning, you're losing. They have it better than you. And so the reason that we feel jealous is really what it comes down to in the most simplest form, is that we're having a thought or a series of thoughts about ourselves, about others, or about our life. And it could essentially, what it comes down to is she is, or he is, I'm kind of addressing it to women, because this has happened, she's happier than I am. She's better off than I am. If only I had what she's having, if only I was experiencing what she's experiencing, then I would be so happy. Then I will have arrived. And then internally, it's an indicator, if you have a tendency towards jealousy, it's an indication that there's probably an underlying pattern of beating yourself up and habitually looking for evidence, looking for reasons to feel badly about yourself. So just be aware of how that's playing out. And that's a kind of habit that can actually be quite addictive. So I'm just bringing this all out on the table because I think it's really empowering to know on a cognitive level what is actually at play when we are, say, under the spell of jealousy, envy, and compare and despair. So now let's look at the remedy, the antidote, and a super empowering way to really alchemize it into your own expansion and your own becoming into more of the woman you want to be, because that is really what it can be utilized for. So the negative, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but the negative feeling, the discomfort of envy is really just pointing us towards what we want more of for ourselves and our lives. So we want to catch that before it takes us out and actually seize this as a really potent opportunity to root back into ourselves, to root back into the vision we have of ourselves, and root back into the power we have to create that. So let's go back to what I said a few seconds ago. Sort of that, what it comes down to in the moment when jealousy stings the most, it's the feeling or the belief that because this person has this, then she has it so much better than I do, that she must be so much happier. If only I had what she's having, then I would be happy. Then I would be fulfilled. Then I would be whatever, you fill in the blank. So we're actually really focused on the conditions, the details, and the circumstances out there when we're playing out those thoughts, that line of thinking. But what's important to remember is that what you are really after when you are under this spell of jealousy, what you're really after is a feeling. And you're imagining that she gets to feel that feeling that you are desiring because of the current state of her business, or the current state of her relationship, or the current size and shape of her body, or her bank account, or her geographical location, or her home, or her travel, or her boyfriend. And so what you want to do, or her lifestyle. What you want to do is identify what is that feeling that you, in the face of the jealousy, what is the feeling that you are imagining she gets to feel because of the circumstances that she, like, because of the windfall, because of whatever has unfolded in her experience. What is the feeling you imagine she gets to have as a result? Next step is to come into the recognition that that feeling has nothing to do with what she has. Welcome, Carol. I'm so delighted you're here. We're talking about jealousy, envy, compare and despair. Raise your hand if you've ever been there. So where was I? That feeling has nothing to do with what is happening externally, what she has gained externally in her condition. Her condition, the circumstances, whomever you are feeling jealous or envious of, know that her condition simply has given her permission to feel that way, but is not the source of the feeling itself. And this is great news, because it means that you can give yourself permission to feel that feeling that you want to feel regardless of your conditions. So regardless of circumstances, you want to go to work to figure out, this is about really taking back all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your energy that is really so destructive. It's destructive as long as it's externalized like that. It becomes super creative and potent and enlivening when you can actually redirect it back into your own expansion. by asking, what are the thoughts that you need to be thinking and believing that would give you access to and permission to feel that feeling, or that group of feelings, that whatever feel the most compelling and delicious and inspiring and motivating and for you. The inner is what creates the outer. So there's no shortcut around this. It's not like this is easy work to do, but it is essential if we are to close this gap and really use jealousy in our service to our benefit. So that's part one, is just that recognition and taking back the projection and then separating the feeling from the conditions that she is demonstrating, and know that it's the feeling that you're after. The next level to take this to is to make it even more practical. So it's the knowing and the recognition that the difference between you and the person who has what you want, the difference is that they believe that they deserve those things, that they are worthy of those things. And they have an identity that is aligned with having that thing. So the work at this level is then to get curious. Okay, so what would someone who is having that experience have to believe, and what would they have to think about themselves that would have been conducive to that manifestation? What would someone who created this have to think and believe and feel in order to be in that circumstance, that situation that we are so envious and jealous of? What are the thoughts? What are the beliefs that created it, essentially? Hey, yes. Hello, Evangeline. Interesting. Interesting. Both of you ladies have the same sound of your last name, but different spellings. That is so fun. Yes, thank you, Carol, for outing yourself. I have been there multiple times too. So, where was I? Okay. So, that's the trick. When I check the comments, I get a little distracted. So, so here we go. You are using the demonstration of the object of your jealousy, the object of your envy, to point you in the direction of, okay, what would someone who has created this, who lands into this circumstance, what would someone in her shoes have to, like, what would she be believing and thinking that led to that? From this place of knowing that you want that you want the feelings you imagine she's experiencing as a result of the conditions. No, it's not the conditions. The conditions have no ownership over the feeling. The feeling comes from the inside out. So you have to then identify what you would need to think, what you would need to believe, what you would need to feel in order to come into alignment with having that end result, and to take action towards that. So again, no matter what it is you want, you have to be the person who has that. Your core identity has to line up with and be in alignment with the person who has that. That's the only way it can unfold in your experience. So that's why a big part of the work I do with myself and every one of my clients is this work of helping you line up your identity with what it is you say you want. It's really about bringing your inner world into congruence with what you desire to manifest externally. So the two-step process here, it really comes down to what I refer to as purifying your desires. So really getting clear, do you really want this? Or are you just believing you need this in order to be good enough, and therefore pursuing a kind of a false desire in compensating as a way to compensate for filling an empty hole or make up for where you don't feel enough? So that's part of the work I do with my clients as well. And then recognizing, okay, so the only difference between the woman you are today and the woman who has that result is the level of self-worth, is the level of self-belief, the strength of self-belief. It's the capacity to receive and to feel good. And it's an internal shift of identity that is aligned with actually having that experience, that result, that outcome, that fulfillment of her desires, and fully inhabiting that reality. I'm pausing to see any questions, ladies. Okay. Feel free to pop in any ahas, any questions here. So these are the practical ways that you are going to alchemize jealousy, envy, compare, and despair into a superpower, because it's really cleaning out the rust that's in those pipes so that the water can flow more freely. Essentially, any object of jealousy, any object of envy, any object of comparison is really pointing you, showing you the gap between where you are and who it is you desire to be. And it's giving you a real incentive, a catalyst to bring all of your focus, all of your attention back on who it is you are desiring to expand into. The thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings that are going to support that towards what it is you want to be creating, towards your journey in this lifetime. So if you feel as though you have been spinning in this place of scarcity and lack and not enoughness and struggling to get what you want, all it means is that your inner world is not yet congruent with your outer world. You're not yet that woman who believes that she deserves that, who believes she's already enough to receive what she wants, and who's okay having it, who allows herself to receive it, and who feels safe in letting it unfold in her experience. So if this is something that you've been struggling with, feel free to reach out. This is work I love to do, and I'm happy to hop on a call and really get you moving and really sourcing your own power and using, those negative experiences of jealousy or envy as a way to get you back into the throne of your own inner domain and really empower you into the next level version of you, where that gap is closed, where that congruence is aligned. So PM me, direct message me, pop it into the comments so we can connect, and feel free to add any questions below. If you're catching the replay, I absolutely love addressing questions. I love doing follow-ups. I loved clarifying, elaborating anywhere that wasn't super crystal clear so that you can really take this and run with it. Integrate these practices. And I'll be back with more soon. Let me know how it is and how it goes for you. Thanks for listening, ladies. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Ciao.